K-pop.
Oh.
When did you get into K-pop? At what age?
I do a lot of radio, right? And I was on a show the other day, and the host was doing a K-pop quiz. And they said, the question was, when was the first K-pop album released? And I was like, Sotechi and the Boys, maybe, that kind of era, early 90s. And then I also heard a little tidbit of information from another show. I get all my Korean trivia from shows, by the way, that I have to study for, right?
Yeah, no, the writers write them down, and you're like, okay, got it.
There was the first hip-hop song released in Korea, I think the late 80s. And it didn't get put on the list of approved music because they're like, this doesn't follow any melody that they were used to.
Yeah.
And so they had to play them American hip-hop and say, look, this is a new popular genre in the West. And it got uploaded. So I said late 80s. And the quiz master was like, no, it was 1920-something. I was like, that's Korean music, not K-pop.
Yeah.
Right, that's different. All right, pop music means popular music, so maybe it was popular in the 20s.
I can't go with that. K-pop is people who have trained for a long time, or the original Sotechi and the Boys.
Yeah, that's the starting point for me, right? I was totally unaware of them when I came in the 90s, to be honest. I wasn't really...
You were like a teenage girl?
I wasn't. My cousins were teenage girls.
They were probably... well into it.
I have some memories of them talking about boy bands, but to be honest, they were more into New Kids on the Block. They were huge here back in the day.
Yeah, you must have been really popular. Like, English, Englander.
They used to always say 미국 놈. Like, no one knew that I could speak Korean because in those days there were no Sam Hamiltons, no Robert Hollies or anything like that. And so if a foreigner was there, it would be pretty much sure thing that they would speak no Korean.
Yeah.
There weren't many half-halves that were out and about either. And so I'd always hear 미국놈, which basically means, like American punk kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'd always say in Korean, I'd be like, 나 미국 사람 아니야. 나 영국 놈이야. So I'd be like, I'm a British punk.
British punk. I'm a chav.
Yeah.
I'm a bloody chav.
But yeah, to be honest, this is going a bit off the topic of K-pop, but people would often comment on me because it was such a rarity to see a foreigner. No one knows even today that I'm a bit Korean. Like, I don't look like a stereotypical half Korean person.
Right.
I'm not a Daniel Henney, unfortunately for me.
You just get the abs and you got it.
All right, I'll work on those. But yeah, so I used to get so many positive comments, to be honest. People were like, 잘생겼다, 그 외국인 봐. Look at that foreigner, he's so good looking. I'd love it. I'd love coming to Korea for an ego boost.
Oh, yeah.
And then I go back to England and I'd just be this average.
You're normal.
Yeah, below average, I think. But yeah, back to K-pop. So my cousins were into New Kids on the Block. And then the first time I got into Korean music, I doubt you'll know this here. It's called Tutu with a band. And they were considered K-pop, very poppy. And it was one guy, one girl, and maybe another band member, I think. Sadly, that guy in the past maybe decade committed suicide.
Oh my gosh.
Which is quite a little endemic that we have here in K-pop and other walks of life. There's too much suicide. But they had this number one hit in the summer I visited called 일과 일분의 E or 1.5, something like that. One and 1.5 or 1.5, I think. And it means like one person is whole because they're in a relationship and the other person is half because they've broken up with that person who's now in a new relationship and they don't feel complete. And that was by far and away the smash hit of the summer. That used to happen before like streaming and stuff. You get one song on the chart for maybe like 8 weeks, number one.
Yeah.
That was that song. And that got me into K-pop. I bought their album. I took it home to the UK. I played it. All my friends were like, turn it off. And I just listened to it in secret for a couple of years. It was amazing. That was like maybe 98.
You know what I love about K-pop, especially, I guess maybe from that time until like 2010, is K-pop was emo around the same time, like American, like I got my shirt on, right?
Oh,
Emo's
good.
not dead.
It's not dead.
It's not dead. K-pop and K-pop Korean movies were all about like tearjerkers, sad, like or love for some of the songs, but like I loved that. Like so my first one wasn't until later.
Okay.
Which my first kind of K-pop song that I kind of loved was Haru Haru by Big Bang.
Oh, that's a great one.
Oh, and they had the music video.
Yeah.
Where in it, it's 5 minutes. Can I spoil it? I don't know. But in it, basically, stereotypical at the time is someone had cancer and you kind of find out late this like twist ending. It's really, if you haven't seen Day by Day Big Bang,
watch it.
Yeah.
Those
we can
music
say that.
videos.
We can say that because it's not, they're in trouble, but we're a podcast.
Yeah, we do a lot. And if we don't consume pop culture from everyone who's been in trouble, there'll be not much to listen to or watch. But yeah, back in those days. So I think Tutu was before that kind of Big Bang phase, but
it was.
I'd say early 2000s to, like you said, maybe 2010. K-pop music videos are amazing. They must have cost a bomb. Like, they were little movies.
Right.
And one I remember, it's not from quite as early, I think, from Norajo, who are like the kind of original comedy band here.
Yeah.
They did one called Kare, as in the food curry. But it's also a play on words because kal means knife. And so the opening is this big scene about someone's boyfriend getting stabbed.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like, whoa, this is a serious song. And then at the end, he's like, I'm dying, 죽고 있어. 카레 죽었어. Like, I got killed by a knife. So it's just a total pun. And then it bursts out into this funny song about curry. But even the whole production of that intro was a movie in itself. It's so good. Yeah.
I miss that. I'm trying... I want to make one of those videos, like with the story, with the twist ending, with the sadness.
With your band, do it,
We can,
Alex.
right?
Yeah.
I think I can do that. There was another one by K. Will. That was like the last one I remember in recent times. Because, now it's a lot of like...
Sexy dancing, lighting.
Dancing in a box, basically.
Yes.
And it's great. It's fun. I'm glad everyone gets to dance, have fun. That's fine. But K. Will had a song called Tebal something.
Okay.
But it was basically a wedding. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy was going to this wedding of his female friend.
Yeah.
And the whole time it's like, what do you call unrequited love? Where like he's in love with...
Oh, the jaksarang.
Someone in the wedding. But it's another super twist ending.
Oh, wow. In a short music video.
It's super twist. Like, it was incredible. K. Will, I need to make sure everyone gets... Please don't. Chebal kurojima or something.
Oh, maybe like
Irojima chebal.
Oh,
please
wow.
don't. It's... Oh, and even, what's his name? Taeyang had a song like that, too. Like, Wedding Dress, of course,
Wedding Dress was a big one.
Oh, man.
There was a phase in K-pop where I was still really into K-pop, which is that second generation time, Big Bang
Okay,
and
so we
Wonder
got into it at the
Girls.
same time.
Yeah, because Tutu was an outlier. That was like just the first song I really got into.
Then he got made fun of and he didn't want to listen to K-pop.
Well, actually, then I came back for the World Cup 2002, right? And my... this will age me as well. I bought a mini disc player at Yongsan.
Whoa.
Mini disc was such a short-lived thing.
Yeah.
Many people didn't have a mini disc player. I went the whole hog. I got a hi-fi with a mini disc player in it.
Wow.
I had a mini disc changer in the boot of my car, so you could put 6 in, like a CD changer. And I had the portable one I bought from Yongsan. And that's the hub of the electronics place. Back in those days, that was the place to shop for
I miss that place too, yeah.
You'd haggle
Another
and
nostalgic
everything.
one.
Yeah. But my cousins made me a K-pop mini disc. And at that time, it was I think alongside it, there were all those lovey-dovey soppy ones.
Yeah.
But it was also the time, and you might have caught it when you first came to Korea, the end of it, it was all dance music. Like, not quite EDM, but proper...
Had that doom, doom,
it was for like the nightclubs, I think.
Oh, who's the famous one I can't think of? The female... there was Boa.
Mm-hmm. Not Om Jong-ah.
There was, I don't know, Bo was one of them anyway. No, Lee Hyori, right?
Lee Hyori in the early times, yeah. But there were some before her solo debut that were like totally dancey disco-y. Things like Coyote and Kobugi, like the kind of co-ed bands. And
Cool was Cool around that time too?
Yes, exactly.
Cool, okay.
That kind of music.
That was
right?
fun music. That is fun.
I thought, oh my goodness, this sounds way more Western than I remember Korean music. So in 2002, I got into that kind of dancey side. But yeah, I've gone on such a tangent that I can't remember what I was talking about. Someone's music video.
We're moving along to 2000, like second generation K-pop, and what you got into. I got into it around that time.
Yeah.
And that was a good time. That was Big Bang, 21, Sonny Shide, and the start of like Sistar.
Yeah.
And
that was what I was saying. Sorry, you got me there.
Sistar.
I love Sistar. They've gone through some issues because of Hyorian as well, apparently. But it was, I was saying in the second generation, it got to a time, because you said about Taeyang's Wedding Dress. That's a lovely song, by the way, about a wedding dress. But then it was either before or after. Do you remember his song, Naman Paraba?
Naman Paraba. Oh, that was a good one. I danced to that one at our university festival in America.
In America?
Did
people know what that song was?
The Korean American Student Association did.
Oh, wow.
And we did it at a festival.
That's amazing.
Naman Paraba. Oh, it's such a good song, too. Only Look at Me.
And you know, if you listen to the lyrics in any depth, it's not just you only look at me. It's I may well look at other girls and maybe cheat, but you don't cheat.
Yeah.
It's like 나는 해도 너는 하지 마. It's like there was this phase, and I looked into it recently for some K-pop work that I was doing. And yeah, there was a phase of all these kind of songs that were very much sexist, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But they were great songs.
They're great songs.
The melodies and stuff were amazing. My wife loves that song.
Such a good song.
And she's like, but I hate the message, but I love the song.
Yeah.
What do I do? And she just keeps on listening to it.
Well, I always say that there are obviously exceptions, but when the artist writes a song, you can write it in, as somebody else, and you don't promote it. Yeah. That's why we did the "Kill Your Boyfriend" song, right?
You're not
I'm not
advocating.
Really, no. I mean, if it happens,
and there's a good reason, well, then it happens. But yeah, you shouldn't be held to like. You've got to stick to these words, or that's what you champion.
I think, it'd be different if it was like, I don't know what the American equivalent is. Like, maybe there's a rapper or a country singer who's known for like
dissing
sexual
people.
assault, and then like makes a
Sings
song
about
being
not okay.
a man. Yeah, you kind of know in those cases. And then I guess, which generation do you love the most then? So we talked about really first, pre-first, second generation. They say there's like third and fourth separation, but since we
kind of left the game, haven't we? People our age.
3 and 4 are three is almost the transition to now.
Yeah, because 3 includes like BTS and EXO, who are still going.
Yeah.
But then 4th is meant to be like the later, I think maybe even like Twice, or maybe the beginning of 4th, maybe.
Blackpink, I guess, would now be 4th, which Blackpink is basically, 21 2.0.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to anyone who doesn't know K-pop.
Did you watch their documentary on the Flicks?
Halfway through.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the rest of it. I just watched it at night and then didn't finish it.
Like, I wasn't going to watch it because I'm not into music documentaries just in general. And I thought it would just be a long concert, but it's got lots of like interviews with them.
Yeah.
And with Teddy as well, the music producer. That's
He's such a
really
big name
interesting.
here.
Yeah.
He's such a big guy here. Like, if you don't know him, or you don't know who he is, that's like the basics of K-pop. It's him and JYP, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. He's famous for making all the hits for YG Entertainment. And I watched the whole documentary. And what I found really good is that they're really successful, but they still like talk about all the bad aspects, like really openly. I thought they would be like censored from that. But they talk about how going through training, and I'm sure many listeners to the podcast might know if you're interested in Korea, that's a harsh regime.
Yeah.
They talk about like 1 day off every 2 weeks. And then how much criticism they got for their weekly performances to kind of get them into shape. They're like, it was horrible. These people would just watch us and say, this is wrong, that's wrong. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you allowed to say this? And it might be something to do with the fact that YG is not around anymore.
Oh, yeah,
maybe.
they're in trouble. So
yeah.
Well, they probably like changed management, and now the new management's like, I think what's cool about both 21 and Blackpink is kind of their image is being a little bit edgy.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in their song, I started listening to them because I heard the song Ice Cream. Like, I listened to them before. I like them all. Like, Boombaya's great.
Sure.
Everything that came before, I loved it. But then I heard Ice Cream, and I'm just like, all right, let me hear this again.
Oh.
I am pretty sure this song is about sex.
It's a bit provocative.
It's purely about that. And in my mind, because in Korea, like sometimes if you don't know English perfectly, it just goes over their head.
Sure.
And I'm just like, that was gutsy. So the reason I like that song isn't because it's like provocative. It's because it was a gutsy play to do that. And, they played it off. They're cutesy, right? And that's kind of their image, too. It's like, that's the idea of Blackpink. Black is the edginess, and pink is the girly side.
Absolutely.
And I think that was done. My sister is a huge, huge fan of Blackpink. This is her first foray into K-pop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And she's got into Blackpink.
And Blackpink is it.
I love now, my favorite is Rose after that documentary. She's the one who grew up in Australia. And she's so frank.
Yeah.
She's like, I didn't know why I was doing this for a while. I wanted to go home, blah, blah, blah. And she was really honest. She was like, I do a concert and that's the best. I feel alive. Yeah. And afterwards, I feel totally empty. I'm like, why am I doing this? And I was like, oh my God, it's not so glamorous, your thing. I just want to give her a hug. Rose, if you're listening to podcasts, you want a hug? Free hugs.
Free hugs.
Free. Yeah, absolutely free.
I don't know why. I think I'm going to go with Jennie for a lot of reasons. She's adorable. She's cute. Like, it's one thing, like, I like Jennie. I like her. I stan her. I don't know what the right word is. Because I'm not like, oh my God, I want to marry her.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're awesome. Because
Props to Jenny.
Yeah, but the other thing I realized too is when I look back at Not Solo by Jenny, and they used the words the other time they used it was the light. I'm a single person who comes.
Yeah.
What is it? The light. I'm a single person who shines light or something.
Yes.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. But when you hear it, and I think I can say this because I'm speaking Korean.
I just said it as well. You weren't listening, but yeah.
I heard it. Beats nanan so low, which means, what the word light.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it. Hey, you light, you son of a light.
I am so low.
Light. I'm so low, and that's what it is. I'm like, that is so edgy, and I like when they push the boundaries of K-pop.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a common one now, I think. Maybe Jenny was like one of the first to do it in a big hit. But the other one is for S-H-I-T, you just pretend you're saying shush with a T at the end. Yeah. People put it everywhere in songs here.
I feel like,
cheeky.
21 had one too, where I just heard it. I'm just like...
Yeah. Is that allowed?
But they slip in... I think part of it is that you have all these like writers who are Kyopos, like Korean Americans or Korean Canadians or something. They come over here and they're just like, you think we can do this?
Yeah.
You think they'll notice?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And they do. There's a whole nother, like, K-pop in Korea is great because that's culture, its own culture. But you get a whole lot of that. I'm going to call it like LA West Coast K-pop vibe too, because there's a whole bunch of artists out there in their own indie scene, and a lot of them come here and then become writers or songwriters, and then that's when you get pitch not so low.
And who doesn't want that?
No, of course not. We all want to.
We love a bit of that. Guys, check out the full podcast without this ugly face or that very handsome face. You just need to listen to the audio, so there's nothing to lose. Check it out on anywhere you can get your podcast. I do listen to podcasts, so I can tell you exactly where. There's Stitcher. That's one of my favorites. Hopefully, if you're listening, Stitcher, sponsor Alex. It's going to be a really good podcast. Or iTunes as well, right? Don't they have a podcast thing there? I'm actually not sure. I don't know what I'm talking about. But follow here, go to the podcast, hit like, hit subscribe, write a really good review, no bad ones. Even if you hated it, write a good one and we'll send you something in the mail. Maybe not. I had my fingers crossed.
Terrible.